It's April the 27th. Just going to give an update on how the wheat is doing. Previous video showed it earlier this year. I'm not really sure what time it was. After Christmas, I believe, yeah. Wasn't very big. I didn't think it was going to make it because it was turning brown and the deer were chomping on it. In the field back there, they kept it low up until just recently, so it's not doing near as good. As you can see, though, it's heading out pretty good. And once it starts to ripen, what'll happen is the heads will bend over. Turn all brown and bend over. Then you know it's pretty close. It can still have a little green in it, but it's pretty close to ready to cut. You can cut it and let it dry for a little while, and then you just beat the snot out of it to get the seeds out. Unless you have some kind of threshing machine or something like that. I'm working one up in my head using a electric limb shredder. We'll have to see how it'll work. You can see here, this here is not as thick as that down there, and the reason being is the deer would come out from over in that area, those thick woods there. There's a bottom over there, and there's a lot of acorn stuff, so they lay up close there, and then a pine thicket on the other side. Well, they would come out, and of course if something spooks them, they're going to go right back there. So they mainly ate on this side of it, so you can kind of see how the height goes, where they kept this area pretty much mowed down. And the way this looks here is the way the back looks, and parts where they don't eat a lot is thick like that, because I have a small patch I planted up at our other house, and there's no deer around there, and it is thick just like that over there. So this is not as thick here, but I really planted it for the deer anyways. But you'd be surprised that it doesn't look like a lot. But that's probably, once it's all said and done, 50, 60 or more pounds of wheat. Especially if we get a couple good rains before it ripens up, it'll really swell the seeds up. Like I said, I plant it for the deer, for them to eat. And I'll cut it, thresh it out. You can make bread with it, pancakes, anything you want, biscuits, whatever. It's a multi-use plant. If you plant tomatoes, you get tomatoes. If you plant squash, you get squash. If you plant wheat, you get pancakes, you get biscuits, you get bread, you get tortillas, anything you want. Feel like making. So there you go. And put some plastic down because I got some sage grass, what they call nut grass, and that stuff is almost impossible to kill. But that black plastic will kill it. But if there's a little bit of light, a little crack like you see here where the wind's blowing it, it will grow up through it. And actually, right here, any little holes, it will push up through. When I first started gardening out here, that stuff was everywhere. I like that, never got rid of it. You just have to keep pulling it out, pulling it out. I call it nut grass because it's actually in the ground. It's like a little, almost like a bulb. It's real small, and they grow from that. So if you don't, you can pull these plants out like this all day long. You see those little runners. If you don't get that nut out of there, it'll grow right back quick. It's an amazing grass. You can cut it, pull it, as long as that nut is still in there in the ground, it'll grow back. But with the wheat, and there's some vetch mixed in. A lot of times when you get wheat, you'll have vetch. See, this vetch will make like a pod, makes big black seeds, and it's a legume, so it will add nitrogen. It will store nitrogen in the roots, and if you till it back in, of course it'll release it. But a lot of times when you get wheat seeds, especially for feeding animals, it'll have some different seeds mixed in with it. A small amount, but as you can see with the vetch right there, it'll grow, and it's sprinkled throughout there. But it's when you cut the wheat, you usually don't get a whole lot of vetch in there, just a few seeds. So when you grind it up to eat it, it ain't gonna hurt you. And the other patch is way back there. There's a little tree right there, and it's back behind there, and it's doing all right considering the deer have eaten on it till right before it started what they call tillering, which is when it starts to send up the shoot to put out the seed head. And then they recommend if you're having cattle on it, is you pull the cattle off. So the plant has time to store up the energy to make the seed. So you can feed on it, but you have to know when to pull them off. But when I get ready to cut it, I'll make another video and show you what it looks like. All right, signing off.